Ready? Awesome. Okay, well, good evening and welcome to our very first December Dreammakers team call for the month. We are so excited. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Jen Mango. I'm not Philip Mango. Philip Mango is right there. He's waving his hand. We're your Emerald and Senior Ruby upline for Dreammakers, but we are excited about this month because we are bringing, December's all about gifts, right? Giving gifts and receiving gifts. And in this team, we have so many gifts in each one of you. And we often get to hear from our sidelines and our upline, our downline, but tonight we have a very special guest, our very first outside of our family, Senior Ruby, to our team, Erika Mitchell. She's going to be sharing with you. She has been with us since September of 2013. And she is an amazing, amazing leader. I see lots of her team on this page right now in the Zoom call. I know that there are many people who are not on her team that look to her as a mentor, that look to her as a friend, that find her as a source of inspiration and motivation on a regular basis. And so we didn't think there was anyone better to kick this month off and to train you and to really bring her gift to you. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Erika.
Thank you, Jen. It's exciting to be here. See all your faces. I feel like we know each other so well online, but when I get to see y'all live and actually moving, it's kind of a little bit more personal. First, I want to tell you a little bit about my journey because I know that there are a lot of people on here that don't really know that, I've met within the last couple of years only. But I joined Plexus just because I wanted to lose weight, and Jen was posting about how awesome these products were. And when I saw her in person for the first time after she had started taking the products, I thought, I need to get my hands on some of that. So I immediately asked her about it, but I thought that it would be something that I probably couldn't afford and that probably wouldn't work for me anyway because I had tried everything to lose the baby weight, even though my baby was like 8 years old. So the funniest thing actually that I was thinking about today, Tanner and I were talking, I signed up for this auto ship. And let me tell you, it was the worst ever. I don't remember what the product was called, but it was like a salt that you would put on your food before you ate it. And it was supposed to like fill you up or make you eat less or something. And I really was excited about it, but it wasn't doing anything for the cravings because I remember sitting in my office sprinkling that on a Snickers bar. And I realized that probably wasn't going to be the solution for me. So when I started hearing about Plexus, I was really excited, but I was very skeptical as well. However, I noticed right away that my cravings for sugar, Dr. Pepper especially, Dr. Pepper and I were in a committed relationship. And I noticed that my cravings were going away pretty immediately that first day. And so I think I only had like a trial pack that I had bought from Jen to try it out. And I met you at Target and you gave it to me at Target. I remember that. And then when payday came, I went ahead and signed up as an ambassador just because I wanted to get the discount. I really was never thinking about the business whatsoever. That first month, because people were seeing the changes in me and because I have a big mouth and I like to share things that I love, I ended up with a lot of customers. And it was like 2 weeks. I think I started mid-month. So the month ended and then paycheck came around like on the 15th of the next month and my paycheck was in the 800s. So that was a major eye-opener. I remember walking into the grocery store and having Jen on the phone and she looked it up for me because I didn't know how to use the back office or anything at that point. And she was like, well, are you ready for this? And I said, yeah. And she said, she gave me the dollar amount, 800 something dollars. And I said, well, let's see if it's deposited, if that's what they're saying, but you know, we'll see. Like, I still didn't believe it at that point. So anyhow, I quickly kept adding customers and just really talking about the products and using Facebook kind of like a journal, explaining everything, how I was feeling, the differences that I could notice right off the bat. But I wasn't worried about building a team at all, because I really didn't feel like I wanted to be in that type of a role. And so I just really focused on customers. And then when I learned about ranking up, and my personality is a very blue personality, so I was like, oh, like I can like get a promotion at this? Like, really? Just sign me up. So we started, Jen started explaining to me really what the business side was like, and Phil too, because I actually would see Phil more than I would see Jen, because our boys played hockey together. So it just kind of evolved from there, and little by little, my customers I would flip to become ambassadors, or I would just, you know, I just started growing a team. And it was because at that point it was kind of a new thing, so it was a little bit different to promote the business than it is now. And so now we've had to come up with kind of different ways, and we had a whole lot more wiggle room with compliance than we do, and we didn't even have a compliance department back then, you know, so we've had to kind of change how we do things. But there are a couple of things that have always remained the same. And people ask me all the time, like, how have you been able to be successful? How are you in this 4 years now, and you know, you make enough money, you make so that this is your main income, you know, what is it that you're doing? So the first thing that I think of when I think of being a successful ambassador is implementation, like implementing the things that I'm learning, because it doesn't do you any good to learn and, you know, go to all these webinars and do all this research if you don't implement what you're learning. And so those resources, all of that will be there tomorrow, will be there next week, will be there next month. So don't be one of those that, you know, doesn't launch. You know what I mean? We have so many people that are, you know, results people. Well, let me see if I start to see results and then I'll, you know, work the business. It's very seldom that we see anybody really gain any traction without starting right out of the gate. So I encourage you to talk to your people that you think would be interested in the business side of it from the get-go. The whole get started and then we'll see. Just, I mean, there are anomalies. Monique Brown is one of them, but it's pretty rare. So that's the first thing is, you know, don't just become a student and never a teacher. Like, you want to be the one out there telling, in your circle of influence, telling your friends about Plexus, because Plexus is a lot bigger now than it was then. And so if you're not the one to tell them, somebody will, and you'll lose that opportunity. The second thing is I have had incredible results with Plexus with the products. Being a product of the product seems like a no-brainer. I would never want to be without my products, but I realize that that's not the case for everybody. I talked to some ambassadors that, you know, kind of tell me on the down low, like, well, I haven't taken Slim in this long, or I haven't, you know, whatever. And when you start to do that to yourself, you start to lose belief. And that is where the problems start to peek their heads. So I think that staying always consistent and being a product of the product is so important. No matter what. You don't like the triplex? Somebody said this today on the Diamonds call. And I'm going to tell y'all, it's really hard not to regurgitate that information because it's been so good. But I've tried really hard to stay original because, like I said, that information has been really good. But somebody did say that today, like, if you don't like the triplex, that's fine. You know, what if you could be a slim block multivitamin, you know, X Factor ambassador? There's nothing wrong with that. Find a regimen that works for you, because we have something for everybody. So don't ever just throw in the towel because our catch-all regimen isn't the one for you. Find something that works. And that goes for ambassadors as well. I mean, customers as well. We like to start them on the triplex for the most part, but what if that's not the regimen that's going to help them the most? What if they really need ease, or what if they really just need edge and slim? And, you know, it's better to keep them as customers than to just see them on their way because they weren't a fit for the triplex. So make sure you keep an open mind when you're talking to people. This next topic is where I think I really thrive and I enjoy the most, and that is in relationship building. I think that is something that comes very natural to me, but I realize that it doesn't have to come natural to you to be a jewel in the company. There are plenty of introverted people that have made it to the top of our company, and that comes through. You ready for this? I know people hate this for the most part because they think it's a lie or something, and I used to too, but personal development. Being able to assess your strengths and your weaknesses and see where you really need help has been key for me. I used to be one of those people that didn't believe in personal development. I was too busy for that. Somebody else could do that. But I've come to the realization that that's what this business is about. And in order to keep on progressing and keep on ranking up and keep on growing, you have to develop personally. And I've seen Tanner, my husband, he has worked super hard to, in a way, without losing himself, kind of become a different person, because he realized that the person that he was not the person that he needed to be in order to work this kind of a business. So if I can see him do those things, those hard things, and make those changes, I know that, you know, those things could be done. Because yeah, it was we have very different personalities, and so it was hard for me to understand, like, I know it's uncomfortable, but just do it. Like, why can't you just do this one thing, you know? But coming to the realization that, no, that's not how everybody's brain works. But there are so many resources out there to help you along your way. Because like I said, that's what this business really is all about, is that personal development. So I want to talk a little bit about how I've been able to, and this is the hard part for me. I love to be bragged on by other people, but when it comes to me talking about my successes and my strengths, it's kind of hard for me. So to give you a little bit of insight, I think at this point, and I think about how cool it would be to walk into a room of all of these people, but I think that I have personally sponsored about 200 people at this point. Okay, that's not a typical number for our business. So looking at that from the outside and seeing the rank that I'm at now makes me understand that somewhere there has been some, you know, disconnect with training or something that has not been quite right, because I should be a diamond by now if you go by that. I think the average diamond has like 40 level ones or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty low comparatively. And then it's another thing that, so anyway, coming to that realization that there needed to be some changes in me is what got me looking at personal development. And now I'm a big believer. And when I started to realize that I believed in personal development all of a sudden was when I would tell Tanner that I liked when he read those personal development books, because he would, you know, trickle down the information to me. So that way I didn't really have to spend the time reading it, but I would still learn. But that is a cheating way to do it. That doesn't really count. Okay, 40 to 60 ambassadors for diamonds. So yeah. So definitely there was something lacking. But I think that I've been able to, retention has been much better since I've been learning about how to, that's total, Taryn. Since I've been learning how to better foster relationships with my downline, because we have over 600 people on our team, but I can tell you by looking at the report last month that only like 220 of them turned points. So if 600 people were turning points, we would be in a way different place right now. So, and you expect that. You expect the numbers to work like that, but our team has specifically taken a big hit with attrition. So that is something that we're definitely working on and all the time. So I was talking about building relationships and maintaining relationships. I think that for me is the most fun part about this business. I love my team. I love getting to know everyone in Canada. One of them called me today on the phone. I looked at the caller ID. We were having dinner and I looked at Tanner and he goes, "Get it." And so I got it with somebody that I had never talked to before on the phone. And it was just so cool to be able to connect and put an accent to a name. Such a cute accent. But I think that's something that is going to really help in the long run, because, and I don't do this for this reason, but it definitely helps. When you have a relationship built with somebody and you have, things that you've talked about, not plexus related, things that you have gone through together, like this back office change or whatever, they're less likely to quit on you because they get mad about something if they have a relationship with you. So it's always a good idea to be able to, be visible and help them understand that, yes, they might be, because now I have like levels 7s and 8s. I might be, they might be a level 7 or 8 to me, but this is still one team. And so I think building that relationship and really getting to know these people, they trusted somebody that trusted you to join your team. And so right there, you have something in common and something that you can build off of. So I've loved getting to know my larger team and really just kind of building a deeper, more meaningful relationship than just plexus. So one of the diamonds, again, talked about this today too, and that's branding. And I want to spend a little bit of time talking about branding, because that's something I've been working on since the summer, because I realized that I was attracting the wrong kind of people. I was just attracting people that kind of wanted a deal. And that wasn't who I felt I really needed to add to our team in order to hit the goals that I had set for myself. So I started looking around and kind of seeing what other, much more successful network marketers were doing. And it tickled my heart today when I heard, because it's fun. Branding, I think, is super fun. There's so much you can do once you have your brand. I mean, the opportunities are endless, really, to get in front of new people. And today, one of the diamonds said that your brand is super important. Like, it needs to be tied into that you need to be able to tie your brand in with plexus, but not spewing plexus. Like, we have to be a little bit different about how we promote plexus now. And so when I go back and look at, thanks to Time Hop and On This Day on Facebook, and see the posts that I was posting like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it's dreadful. And I'm like, how did I attract anybody, with these posts? What in the world? But see, it was a different time 3 years ago, 4 years ago. We were not bombarded with network marketers on Facebook. And so it was okay for that time. I mean, obviously I had a level of success, right? But for these days now, like copying graphics and just putting whatever up is not even going to be seen by the people that you want it to be seen by, because Facebook is onto us. They realize with the algorithms that we're, what we're using Facebook for, and they don't really like it. So we have to be more original and more, but oh my gosh, when I see some of these posts, first of all, the graphics are blurry. Like, how did I not say, oh no, that looks like trash? Like, how did that get on there? Who posted that? But it's just it's a different world. And so we have to be a little bit classier in how we are promoting our brand. So I'll tell you a little bit like about my brand, just because I know that people are like, what do you mean usually? But my brand doesn't say anything about Plexus in it. Like, I'm branding myself, not Plexus. And it's Excellence with Erika, and that's my website. My website also doesn't say anything about Plexus. It talks about health and helping you meet goals, and shows my before and after pictures and all of that, but it's not a Plexus website. So all of that is in an effort to really be able to promote myself as the ambassador of health that I am, and to help people from just going on and Googling Plexus or pink drink. Because as y'all know, if you do that, we don't have a very positive showing when someone just Googles Plexus. So it's not something that we really want to encourage people to do. People are going to do it anyway. I mean, I don't never say, our company name or anything like that. But it's not spewed like it was 3 years ago. I mean, the hashtags I used to use and everything are just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. So anyway, I would say that those are the major things that I wanted to hit tonight, because let's see, it keeps people away from the haters and leaves them curious. Yes, exactly, Diana. I don't know if y'all saw that, but it says it leaves a little bit of curiosity, and that's exactly what we want. There are a lot of health and wellness companies out there now, and so we want to set ourselves apart as like, well, nobody does what we do. So that's why, talking about gut health and talking about what we do is so important, without talking about without saying the company name right off the bat. Once you start talking to somebody, then yeah, of course, then you can tell them, the company name and all of that. But I've noticed that whenever I have in the recent past used Plexus's name in my post, it doesn't get seen. It barely gets any likes, even from Plexus people. And we're always the first to like each other's posts. But when those aren't even getting liked, then that it's not visible. So branding has been super fun to learn about and to play around with. That you can get really fancy with it. I'm just kind of trying to stay to where I'm visible and recognizable, but I don't want it to take away from my income producing type activities. Networking is huge, and I feel like I'll tell y'all a funny story about branding. So I went to this party recently. It was a couple Saturdays ago. And it's a group of ladies, kind of a newer group of ladies that I don't know a whole lot about, but they would be fabulous. We could have a really fabulous team if they joined. But so it's so funny because I was sitting across from one of them, and she looked at me, and they were cutting up and laughing, and she looked at me and she said, "Look at Erika sitting over there, all excellence with Erika, all proper, all," and I was like, "What do you mean?" And I realized that she didn't know that she was talking about my branding. She just knew that she was, of how I present myself online. So it was just really neat to see that in person, because you always hope that you're doing it, that you're hitting these people, but you don't ever really know, unless they contact you or say something. So there's nothing that I love better than walking up to like a group of people and being referred to as Excellence with Erika, because then I know that I'm doing a good job with my branding. So it's just something that we're going to be learning more and more about, I think. And I think corporate even probably will be getting involved in helping us learn better at some point, because it really is the way that our business is kind of going at this point. You want to be set apart from the pack, and that's what branding does. So there's that. Does anybody have any questions I'll answer whatever. I'm an open book. So if you want to know what my PV is, if you want to know how many points I have, I don't care. I'll let y'all know whatever you want. I will tell y'all that this last month, November, was probably the best month for our team. I can't see what our OV was, what our team-wide PV was, but I know that I had the most points that I've ever had, and that usually lends itself to higher PV. So things are going really good.
That's awesome. Thank you, Erika. That so many good things that you touched on. I do think people probably are, if I'm guessing correctly, are probably a little afraid of that branding because they think that there's this whole process. And maybe you can direct them to the source that you used for your branding. You certainly don't have to use an outside source. You can really do it on your own, or maybe where you would suggest that they start when they're looking at branding themselves.
Okay, yeah. So we do have a branding coach that we use, and her name is Monica Perez Burnett, and she really is all-knowing when it comes to branding. She's been a network marketer before. She's been a top producer before, and so she knows our struggles. So she really does focus on network marketing branding, and women in particular. Sorry, Tanner, but it's true. So we really use her as much as we possibly can. But I'll tell you, it can be overwhelming. You can spend a lot of time spinning your wheels and really not doing anything income producing. So you have to really be ready for it. And she does outline some steps. I mean, you go to her website and it says, this is start here, essentially. But once you have your like logo done, which she gives you all of the resources to do that too. Once you have that done, it's really not, it's enjoyable to me. It's really not hard at that point. But here's the thing, you have to implement it. Having it there and not using it is not doing anybody any good. And I see it all the time. We have people in our downline that know about this and, pay for her services and just don't do anything with it. And so that's not income producing in the least. So it sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot of, oh, now I have to do this, now I have to do that. But she does really make it as easy as possible. But it is time. You do have to give it a little bit of time. And you have to, what it's done for me though is helped me understand who my target is. Because I really before was just kind of throwing a net out there and just seeing what I would catch. But I've realized that everybody's doing that. So I need to be a little bit more specific and more intentional with who I'm marketing to. And that's what she teaches us. So she has a monthly expense. Or a monthly bill, I guess. It's $20 a month at this point. And it has gone up since I started because I was like one of the founding people. And I'll be honest, she came to me and said, I want to help you rank up. And so that's when we started working together. And it started at $10 a month and now it's $20. And I know that she'll just keep upping it because it's kind of like the in thing right now. But she's a great resource and she'll do Jen, haven't you done 30-minute blocks with her? And yeah, she'll do she'll do that with you if you need help specifically with things or whatever. But I don't want this to be a commercial for her, but I do want y'all to know that there are resources out there. And, you know, maybe you join for a couple months, get it all figured out, and then fly it on your own. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think Jen Shock had a question. What are your top tips for building relationships with your downline?
Oh, so I message them on Facebook. A lot of these people don't know who I am and don't accept my friend requests. So I have to be kind of yeah, kind of like I'll see a new name in the back office and I will immediately look them up on Facebook and see, you know, where they came from. And then I'll usually message their sponsor or usually not right away though. I let them, you know, get started and stuff. I don't want to be overwhelming, but I let them get started and then I'll usually introduce myself and make sure that they're on our team page if they want to be. And then, you know, sometimes I'll even share my story with them. Like, I want to connect with them. I want them to feel like they're not alone in this and that they're supported in this. And the best feeling is when I hear from someone who's a level 7 or an 8, like Andrea today said, you know, I've been in a lot of network marketing companies and I've never felt so supported as I do on this team. That is my goal every single time. I want but I mean, she's special too. She like took to me and took to our team culture right away and was, you know, responding on our team page. And most people just join and they just kind of sit there like, all right, what's going to happen next? You know, and I don't want to be the one to pounce on them. Not every time. But it's been helpful to have these relationships, you know, for times when Monique is out of town or, you know, dealing with family stuff or whatever. It's really cool to be able to step in and not be a stranger. I think that that's so important in this business. Diana, I think said something, but I missed it. Oh yeah, talking about developing your brand. Yep, absolutely. When I started branding, I started a notebook. I wanted to keep like track of, you know, the progress that I was making. And now this, I'm not saying that I was able to close every single person, but I've had 32 people approach me instead of me approach them since I started branding maybe almost 4 months ago. So, you know, pretty good numbers for someone that's been in the game as long as I have been. And, you know, I have pretty high goals for myself every month. And I think that we as a team, not larger team, but me and my downline, I feel like we have had to learn kind of who would make a good ambassador and who would make a good customer. And we made a lot of mistakes with that. And so we have a heavy amount of, you know, $75 to $99 ambassadors on our team. So, you know, we're learning as we go. I'm being kind of picky about who I present the opportunity to, because it doesn't do me any good or them any good if they're at 50 PV every, you know, we could talk about that for days, but we're learning as we go. And I think that we're definitely being pickier as a team and really only adding people or presenting the ambassador opportunity to people that are well within the $100 magic number. So I think we all made that mistake at first. Oh, you want to join my team? Yes, sign you up. You know, it was exciting, and you know, we've just had to kind of learn as we go what really works.
Such great advice.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Erika? Processing any or comments on anything that she's talked about? Good reminders. I think what's also amazing is that to watch Erika, to see the personal development really come through is such a joy to watch. It's so fun. Like and she referred to me as grandma or great grandma on her as live the other day. So I think I can say that, but like a proud grandma or proud parent, you sit back because you go through it for yourself, but you want it. I want it as much as I want it for myself. I want it 10 times more for each of you. And so when you get it, it's like this whole new level. It's like when your kids do something. If you make an A on a paper in college, you were like, whatever. That's what I expected myself. But when your kid who can't make an A ever, has never made an A before, and goes from C's to A's, you like want to shout it to the rooftops. And so that's what I see in Erika. In terms of her, she was a rock star from the beginning. We called her Butter because Phil was like, she's going to be the butter on our bread, on our paychecks, because that girl came in flying when she knew just to go get customers. But to watch her grow into this total package person, just grooming herself to be the diamond that she is going to be someday is it's just such a joy to watch. And I want to encourage you that if there's something in her that you see that you don't possess, know you can develop that muscle. We all have the same muscles. We just have to work to develop them. And I think sometimes we almost use that. I know I have. Y'all have heard me use it a million times with the green thing, with the research thing. But I'm capable of doing research. I can read and I can write and I can sit and focus. I just don't like to. But that is definitely a skill that I can develop. So I want to encourage you, if you said something tonight that has resonated with you, but at the same time you're like, that's not me. I can't do that. Yes, you can. Start telling yourself, yes, you can. Start speaking it over yourself and develop it. And I think that's what's awesome about our team too. And thank you, Erika, for sharing and being so available all the time, not just tonight, but being available to those people that are not on your team that you pour into to really develop, take it like she said, and then go implement it. Because it's really it's offensive. And she would never say this. She would never say this in a million years.
I might.
I don't think. But it's offensive to her. If you go ask her for advice and how to change something, and then she gives you the advice, but then you're not willing to go put it into practice. Right? And maybe, so think about that. I think even for myself, I can say, well, I want to know how to do that. Well, maybe I know how to do that. Maybe the reality is I just don't want to do it. I don't want it bad enough. And so thank you for challenging us and leading as a beacon of light towards 2018 for our team and what to do. And if you, just one more thing about the branding, because I don't want everybody to leave here in a panic about what is my brand. An easy thing to do for your brand is, like we heard a couple weeks ago from Katie Trent, we all work for a health and happiness company. So start there. You're all about health and happiness, but then think about what you bring, instinctively to that. I look at Heather Wright and I go, well, she loves and cares for animals. She's not going to put, or the nursing thing. She could go either direction with that. Remember, and then just tweak it, like Erika said, so you can stand out against the sea of network marketing ads that people see on a daily basis on their social media.
Yeah, this isn't the same Facebook feed that we had even a year ago.
No.
I mean, we have to stay present, and I think that finding these ways, these kind of secret ways to stay ahead of the pack is really where I don't want to say the riches, but you know what I mean. And yes, Sherilyn, I'm glad that you caught I decided to be like one of these diamonds tonight from the 12 days. I was going to start yelling at my Alexa next because, that's what we all do, but I don't have one. But yes, it's really nice to be able to work in my one-piece pajamas. I have the air conditioning on to 69 because, it's 78 degrees today.
It's gross.
I don't, but there's a
necklace on.
Do what?
Do I see you wearing a diamond necklace though?
Oh yes, actually, This was given to me by my sweet upline, Jen Mango. Hold on, y'all want to see the cutest thing ever? So Tanner's grandma gets a Christmas ornament for every single person in the family. And it's always relevant to what they've done for that year. Look at mine. Oh, precious. And so it says Erika 2017, and it says, "Will you marry me?" How sweet is that?
So cute.
So I'm just covered in diamonds over here, ladies.
Yes, you are. It's a sign for sure.
It is. I made the proclamation the other day on our team page, and I just was like, I'm one of the diamonds is the one that one of the diamonds is the one that got me inspired to say this to my team. But on a live video, I told them, like, we are a diamond team. Like, we are. It's happening. It will happen. It's just a matter of when. And seeing the support from them and everybody just, yes, I believe that. I'm speaking that. I'm claiming that, is so nice. We have such a great team. And I know you've had that belief for a long time in us too, Jen, and I'm so appreciative. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was going to add just your first point from what you were talking about early on, but I think Jen already did it, which is just to implement the things you're learning. And I know it's so hard in a way because we always have all these great trainings at our disposal, and especially right now, we got the 12 days of diamonds, and you're hearing from 2 diamonds every day, and then you have other trainings you're hearing from, and we're on the team meeting and we're hearing training and everything. But I think, because I know, Erika, you probably saw this too. The recommendation from our branding coach was to take 3 hours to implement every new thing you learn. Like, spend 3 hours implementing it. And I think that's good. But I think even for me, that's like a scary thought to what I'm going to spend 3 hours on.
Yeah.
But, something I try to do is at least take one thing away from each training and try to apply that immediately going forward. Maybe you don't apply all of it, and maybe not all these things are going to necessarily work for you in each training, but at least take something rather than just writing it on a notebook and then you never look at it again.
I feel like I'm the opposite because I implement and I'm moving all the time to where I need to do 3 hours of IPA and then 1 hour of learning, because I'm the complete opposite. I don't make the learning piece a priority like I should, or I haven't in the past. So being able to, look back, step back and look and see where my holes kind of are, where I can improve, has really, really helped. Because I never made time for that. I would just, no, I'm not going to do that. I want to spend my time doing other things. But you really do have to be the whole package in order to be the leader that your team needs.
Yeah.
Yep, that's so true. I'm a diamond. The stats I said that about Monique. I remember saying that about Monique one time. Like, she's a diamond. We're just waiting for the title, but she's a diamond. And I believe that of anybody that's on this call could at any time do it. Anybody can. I've seen diamonds that I'm like, really? Like, how did this happen? But it happens. Anybody is capable. It's just a matter of sharpening your sword and getting there. We're all working. Is there anybody else? Tanner. I already put a ring on it. All right. I think that was everybody that commented.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you again. I love that you had on your jammies and you did your whole little thing with it. That's awesome. And thank you guys for being here. I know the pressing that you might feel with all that's going on, but I promise you that the more action and attention you give your business, even in this busy season, the more results you're going to see this month and the months to come, and really set yourself up for an amazing 2018. If you don't feel any pain when you give anything, you don't grow, right? Somebody said that on, I think Jill Renfro said that about your muscles. If you're not feeling pain in the gym, you're likely not growing that muscle. And so if it doesn't cost you something, right, it's not as likely to make an impact. So if this did take away from something and you chose to be here, know that you sowed a good seed for your business to grow in some capacity even this week. Well, you want to say anything? You just showed up?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. All right.